Okay, so this is the Unit 2 quadratic review. Part 1 is polynomials. So on this one, I am adding. And when you're adding, you combine like terms. What goes with 9x to the 6?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. So we drop it down, 9x to the 6. What goes with negative 4x to the 5th?
Positive 10x to the 5th.
Good, so that gives me positive 6x to the 5th when I add them. What goes with negative 15x to the 4th?
Nothing.
Nothing, so I drop it down. And I drop down the 14. I'm not sure. All right, number 2, what are we doing on number 2?
Subtracting.
Subtracting. And remember, when you're subtracting, you have to change all your signs. So this becomes a plus. The 15, this is a mistake a lot of people make. They forget to change the 15 to a negative, 4 to a negative, 1 to a positive. So you change everything to the right. Change the signs. So negative 18 and negative 15. What does that give you?
Negative 33x to the squared.
Yep, to the second power. So your exponents stay the same. All right. Then 4x goes with negative 4x. What happens there?
They cancel.
It cancels out.
And then we have negative 16 and positive 1, which gives me negative 15. Okay. Remember, if you have a question, you can ask at any time. You can send me a private chat. Number 3, 3x minus 2 squared. What do we have to do first on that one?
Write it 2 times.
Good. All right. What do I do after I write it twice?
Lobster claw.
Good. Lobster claw. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. And negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Okay. All right. And one last step I can do on that one.
Combine like terms.
Good. So I get 9x squared minus 12x plus 4 as my answer. Okay. All right, number 4, the equation negative 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 is rewritten in vertex form. Y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. What is the value of k? All right, somebody who has not answered yet, what do I need to do first to write it in vertex form?
Divide by 2.
Close.
Divide by negative 2.
Good. All of it?
Just the one after it.
Just the first 2, right? Just the first 2. Divide by negative 2. And so that gives me x squared. Once again, guys, you have calculators. If not, you can go to desmos.com. So don't let these things scare you. If I wasn't letting you use a calculator, then you could be scared. But you have Desmos, you have calculators, so use them. You could put 3 over 2, or you could put 1.5 plus a blank plus 1 minus a blank. All right, somebody knew what goes in this blank.
Half of 3 over 2 squared.
Very good. So half of 3 over 2 is 3/4, and when you square it, you get 9 over 16. And then how do I get the number that goes here? Somebody knew.
Negative 2. Times that by negative 2.
Very good. Multiply that by negative 2. That gives me negative 18 over 16, which reduces to negative 9 over 8. Once again, your calculator will do all that. Remember, math, enter, converts it to a fraction, or you can do the decimal. All right, so I get negative 2x. What goes here?
Half of B.
Good, half of b, which is 3/4. Square on the outside. How do I get the number that goes here?
Combine negative 9/8 and 1.
Good, but I have to remember I'm
Oh,
subtracting
you have
them.
to do the opposite sign.
Yep. So it turns into a positive. All right, that gives you 17 over 8. Okay. All right, this one's asking for the value of k. Is k on the inside of the parentheses or the outside?
Outside.
Outside.
Outside. And do I change the sign?
No.
No. So k is 17 over 8. Okay. All right, the equation x squared minus 2/3 x minus 26 over 9 is rewritten in vertex form. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. What is the value of 8? All right, what do I do first?
You put it in parentheses,
Good, which ones?
x squared and negative 2 over 3x.
Very good. There's nothing to divide, so I'm ready to do x squared minus 2/3 x plus a blank minus 26 over 9 minus blank. All right, once again, I'm gonna use my calculator. So I'm gonna do negative 2/3. I'm gonna use parentheses around it, divide it by 2, and then I'm gonna square it. And I'm gonna do math, enter. You do not want a repeating decimal. All right, they will not accept repeating decimals. You gotta convert it to a fraction by hitting math, enter. All right, so that gives me 1/9. What goes in this blank?
1/9.
Good, because there's nothing to multiply it by. All right, so I get x. What number goes here?
Half
Half
of
of-
negative 2/3 x.
Good, which is 1/3, right? Half of 2/3 is 1/3. And then I combine like terms. Notice these have a common denominator. So it's going to be negative 27 over 9, which reduces to negative 3. All right. All right, this one's asking for the value of h. Is h inside the parentheses or outside?
Inside.
Inside. What do I have to remember to do with that?
Do the opposite.
To the opposite side. So h is 1/3. Okay. All right, name the form and the information it gives you. All right, somebody who has not answered today, somebody new, still about half the class hasn't answered. What form is this?
Vertex form.
Vertex.
And you could use the roots or the x-intercepts.
Not vertex form. Vertex form gives you the
Vertex.
vertex. All right, what is the vertex of that one?
-3, 4.
Good, -3, 4. Okay, so if you have not memorized these, then you need to make a note card. If you have not made a note card, then you need to make one. All right, you should have a note card from unit 1, that has all your rules about like 90 degrees clockwise is, hold on, let me remember what sign it is. 90 degrees clockwise is y, opposite x, and so on. You should have a note card with all those rules. For this unit, you should have vertex formula, y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. is vertex formula. What form is this one in?
Standard.
Standard. Standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. What information does standard form give you?
Y-intercept.
Good. The y-intercept is 0, 3. So your c value is your y-intercept. Should have that on a note card. Okay. Lastly, what do we call this form?
Factored form.
Factored form. And the formula for factored form is y equals a x minus r1 x minus r2. What does factored form give you?
X-intercepts.
The roots, which is the x-intercept. So the r1 and r2 are the roots or the x-intercepts. What's another word for those?
Solutions.
Solution. Okay. All right. What are the x-intercepts of this one?
3, 0, and negative 2, 0.
Good. Notice she did the opposite. Anytime you're pulling a number out of parentheses, you're doing the opposite. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
So, this is kind of sort of unrelated, but do parabolas ever go like sideways? Like, does the opening ever face sideways?
Yes, they do. I can't remember if you do that in Math 3 or pre-calculus, but for them to face sideways, so we don't do it at all in Math 2, but for them to face sideways, it is that form. So it's x equals and the y is squared. So yes, that makes them open sideways. Okay. Factoring. What is one factor of? I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. For now, let's just factor like we normally factor. What do you have to do first when you factor?
Place the first two terms in parentheses.
Oh, that's complete the square. That's complete the square. What about for factoring? What do you do?
Find the GCF.
Good. Find the GCF. All right. And you do the GCF of all of the terms. Okay. You do the GCF of all the terms. So what is the GCF of all of these?
7.
7. So I divide them all by 7. So that gives me 2x squared minus x minus 3. Put the 7 out front. Anybody remember what you do next?
Multiply A and C.
Good. Multiply A and C. So that gives me negative 6. All right. What factors give me negative 6?
Negative 2 and 3.
That adds to give me 1.
Three and negative 2. Or wait, no, that's negative 3 and positive 2.
Good. All right. Which combination do I want?
The one that gives you negative 1 because that's the number that's in front of negative x.
Very good. All right. What do you have to remember to do? Several of you forgot a step on your quiz. What do you have to remember to do?
Divide by A.
Divide by A. Divide by A. This gives you negative 3 over 2 for now, and this gives you 1. And you do bottoms up, bottoms up. So it's 2x minus 3. You're not allowed to have fractions in factored form. It's not allowed. It breaks the math rules. All right. So it's 2x minus 3 and then x plus 1 with your GCF out front. Okay. Let me grab a Post-it. And let's talk about what this may look like on a multiple choice test. What is one factor of Sorry. So here's the problem we just worked, and here are your answer choices. Let me move this up. All right, so what is one factor of 14x squared plus 7x minus 21? We just did the work and got this answer. Which one of these is one factor of it? What do you think?
B.
Nope. All right, let me talk you through it. So we got our answer to be 7, 2x minus 3x plus 1. Is 2x plus 3 one part of our answer?
No.
No. Okay. What about x plus 1? Is it one part of our answer?
Yes.
Yes.
What about x minus 1? Is that one part of our answer?
No.
And then what about x minus 3 over 2?
No.
No. So one factor, these are the factors. These are the factors, the what's in the parentheses, okay? So it's not asking for an x-intercept or anything. It wants to know what's one part of your answer, okay? All right, let's do number 8, x cubed minus 4x. Once again, you are factoring. So what do you do first?
Find the GCF.
Good, GCF. All right, what goes into both of those?
X.
X.
That gives me x squared minus 4. All right, then I multiply a and c, so that gives me negative 4. And notice that there's no bx term. There's no x term, so it's like this. There's nothing in the middle, so you can put a 0 here. What are things that multiply to give you negative 4?
-2 and 2,
Good. What does that add to give you?
0.
Good. That's what I want. So, and you divide by a, they stay the same. So x minus 2, x plus 2. Oops, with the x off right. All right, so that is your answer. Questions? All right, let's talk about transformations of quadratics. A lot of you are really struggling with this. I don't know. I think maybe part of it is you didn't watch the video last Thursday. I have heard from several students off the record that people are just trying to get the assignment done without watching the video, and I think that's not a good strategy at all. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is a quadratic. What form is it in?
Vertex.
Vertex form, okay? And what is the vertex?
5,
5, 3.
5, 3. So if I think about a graph, to get to 5, 3, I start here. Which direction do I go to 5, 3? What do I do?
5 to the right and then 3 up.
Good. 5 to the right and 3 up. So it goes right 5 and up 3. It's as simple as that. Okay, it's as simple as that. How do you get to the vertex? You go right 5 and up 3. So the -5, we know we have to do the opposite. So that makes it go right 5. And the 3 makes it go up 3. Okay. All right. This one has a +1 in front, so I know it opens up. I know it opens up, and it makes a happy face. Oops, I shouldn't have drawn the mouth. All right. The axis of symmetry is always starts with what? What does axis of symmetry always start with?
X equals
Good. And the formula is x equals h. What is your h value?
5.
5. Remember, this is h and k. You can always graph it in Desmos too and look and see where the line is if that's helpful to you. Okay. All right, let's do another one. What form is this one in?
factored form.
Still vertex because you only have one parenthesis, or yeah, you have a parenthesis squared. So factored form has no squares in it. Vertex form has a parenthesis squared, and standard form has no parentheses. Okay, so it's still factored, or still vertex form. This is still vertex form. What is your vertex?
+4, 0.
Good, +4, 0. So once again, if I think about a graph, how do I get to 4, 0? What do I have to do?
Right 4.
Good, I have to go right 4. So that is one of the transformations. Now, this one also has a negative. You treat the negative and the 2 separately. I can't stress that enough. You treat the negative and the 2 separately. They are 2 separate transformations. The negative makes the parabola open how?
Smaller.
Down. The negative makes it open down. What can I call that? Instead of opening up, it opens down. What happened? What can I call that?
It's reflected against the x-axis.
Reflection.
Very good. It is a reflection over the x-axis. Okay. The negative makes it reflect over the x-axis. So you should have that. Okay, you should have that written down. All right, now we're going to ignore the negative because we already wrote that down. The negative makes a reflection of the x-axis. So now I'm going to ignore the negative. And the 2, is the 2 adding, subtracting, or multiplying?
Multiplying.
You're multiplying. So in unit 1, we called that a dilation, which is fine. You could say it dilates by 2. I would accept that answer. However, on a multiple choice test, when they're talking about parabolas, they're going to say either a stretch or a shrink. Stretch or a shrink. If I multiply something by 2, does it get bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
Bigger. So if I make something bigger, I am stretching it. I am stretching it. Golly, I can't even spell. All right. So the 2 makes it stretch because it is bigger than 1.
I have a question.
Yep.
So why is it not -2 anymore when you're dilating it?
You could say it dilates by -2. I wouldn't count that wrong, but you also have to say that it reflects over the x-axis because the parabola opens down. And so if you just say it dilates, you don't make it clear that you know it opens down, which is a reflection over the x-axis. Does that kind of help?
Well, I'm saying, like, if it's a -2, wouldn't it be like a shrink, or how would it be a stretch?
It's because when you multiply them by -2. Oh, okay. I have an easy answer. When you multiply something by -2, so let's take some numbers. 1, 2, 3. When I multiply those by -2, are my numbers getting bigger or smaller? Oh, wait, I see what you're saying. That is what you're saying. How can I explain that? I'm gonna have to come back to you on a good explanation, Larit. When you put them in Desmos, you can see what happens. I'm gonna have to come back to you on an explanation of why, but you can get a good visual in Desmos, which of course it's not loading. All right, so here we go. So we've got -2 x minus 4 squared. All right, and we see that it opens down and we see that it is skinnier. Oh, okay, maybe this will help, Reed. Let me turn on my video real quick. All right, what is the vertex of number 11?
-6, -3.
Good, -6, -3. Oh, we forgot to do the axis of symmetry up here. What would be the axis of symmetry of this one?
X equals 4.
Good, x equals 4. What would be the axis of symmetry of this one?
-6.
Good, x equals -6. Okay, once again, think about how do you get to -6, -3? You go left 6 and down 3. You go left 6 and down 3. You go left 6 and down 3. If I multiply something by 1/2, does it get bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
Smaller. So that is called a shrink, and it'll always be a vertical shrink. Okay. All right, let f of x equals x squared. Find the following compositions and name the transformation that occurred. All right, so we have f of x minus 3. Notice that x minus 3 is in parentheses, and so we're going to keep it in parentheses, but we're going to put a square. And you might ask, where did that square come from? It came from the fact that we're using the function x squared. The f means you're using this function that they give you, which is squared. Okay. All right. What does the -3 do? Does it move it up, down, left, or right?
Right.
Good. It moves it to the right 3 because you do the opposite. Again, think about what your vertex would be. Your vertex would be 3, 0. How do I get to 3, 0? I go right 3. Okay. For this one, is the 2 in the parentheses?
No.
No, I'm going to replace this. They tell you f of x equals x squared. So I'm going to replace it with x squared and put +2. And we need to name the transformation. What does this +2 move it? Left, right, up, or down?
Up.
Good. Up 2. All right. Once again, if you think about your vertex on this one, it would be 0, 2. So it moves it up 2. All right, for
I have a question.
C, yeah, go ahead.
So if it's within the parentheses, does that mean it moves with x? And then when it's outside of the parentheses, it moves with y?
Yes, yes, yes. F of x minus 5. What about for this one? Does the -5 go in the parentheses?
No.
No.
No. So I replace this with x squared minus 5. What does the -5 make it do?
Down 5.
Good. Down 5. Okay. For this one, the 2 is in front, which means it's being multiplied. So it's 2x squared. Does this move it left, right, up or down?
No.
No, because you're multiplying by it. It makes it stretch or shrink. Is it going to be a stretch or a shrink?
Stretch.
Stretch. Okay. All right, and then an old problem, write a rule for 9 degrees clockwise rotation followed by reflection over y equals negative x. All right, does anybody remember the rule for 90 degrees clockwise?
Y negative x.
Good, y opposite x. And y equals negative x, does anybody remember that rule?
Y opposite x.
It's opposite y, opposite x.
Good. All right, we have to apply this rule. We have to apply it. We have to apply it to this, okay? What does this rule mean to do? It means to switch their places and do the opposite of both of them. It means to switch their places, so I'm going to switch them back. I'm going to switch them back, and I'm going to do the opposite of both of them. So my final answer is x opposite y.